They asked me to do a season two, and they offered me half the money. I'm like, wow, it's going to take me twice the amount of work for half the amount of money. And so 8 months of my time, essentially, and to do it for half.
The entire cast may be leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Disney cut salaries for everyone. Who should we expect to see in the future? Let's find out how Disney screws over Earth's greatest heroes. This is the story of how Disney's obsession with profit margins turned the Marvel Cinematic Universe into a corporate battlefield where some of Hollywood's most powerful actors declared war on the House of Mouse, and trust me, Disney was completely destroyed. Norton, Edward. In The Incredible Hulk, 2008, Norton portrayed Bruce Banner aka Hulk. It was first anticipated that he would reprise the role in The Avengers, 2012, however Marvel revealed in 2010 that Norton would not be returning. This is what actually transpired. Disney's official narrative was all corporate speak about finding an actor with a creative and collaborative spirit who wouldn't bow to Disney's vision. Norton's agent called the statement intentionally misleading and accused Marvel of portraying Norton negatively to sidestep contract disputes. Norton had complained about the final cut of The Incredible Hulk because he wanted to create art, but Marvel wanted to make a more action-packed movie. Guess who won? Norton allegedly skipped promotional events, which is essentially treason in Disney's world. They made sure Norton's departure looked like his fault rather than theirs. But Norton was only the warm-up act. Director Joss Whedon's conflicts with Disney revealed how toxic the company culture had become in The Avengers, 2012, and Whedon included a line in which Loki refers to Black Widow as a mewling quim, an outdated derogatory slur that escaped Disney's notice when fans caught it. Disney essentially said, "Oops, we're sorry." Disney made a serious professional error, but it was insignificant in comparison to the feminist outcry against Age of Ultron. Whedon left the MCU after Age of Ultron, citing exhaustion from Marvel's micromanagement and fan backlash, but reports suggested he clashed with Marvel executives over creative control, another talented director crushed by Disney's corporate machine. And then came one of the most embarrassing moments in Marvel promotional history during the Age of Ultron press tour. Whedon's portrayal of Black Widow, particularly a scene where she describes herself as a monster due to her forced sterilization, drew massive criticism for reducing her to her reproductive capacity. Jokingly referring to Black Widow as a, Chris Evans and Jeremy Renner made offensive remarks about her, saying, "Oh, that's a great look for your family-friendly brand, Disney, you're leading men calling your female hero a slur on camera." When COVID hit, Scarlett Johansson was about to give Disney the most humiliating legal beating in entertainment history. Disney made the costly decision to release Black Widow simultaneously in theaters and on Disney Plus Premier Access. Both actors had to apologize, with Evans expressing regret for the offensive remark, but the damage was already done. It revealed the toxic boys club mentality that Disney was cultivating behind the scenes. In order to increase their streaming service, Disney allegedly violated Johansson's contract, which was dependent on box office receipts. This is where Disney revealed their true nature rather than tactfully resolving or managing the situation professionally. Oh, Disney messed up big time with that move. The response was so tone-deaf and misogynistic that it created a PR nightmare that made their original problem seem like a minor hiccup. Fans and industry figures, including SAG, called the lawsuit sad and distressing and accused Johansson of ignoring the pandemic's impact while revealing her $20 million upfront payment. The backlash was so intense that Disney and Johansson settled out of court in September 2021 for an undisclosed amount, reportedly in the tens of millions. Congratulations, Disney! You turned a contract dispute into a global humiliation that cost you more money than simply honoring the original deal would have. Genius-level corporate strategy right there. However, the Johansson lawsuit was just the tip of the iceberg. Other Marvel actors were dealing with their own Disney nightmares behind the scenes after President Fran Drescher rallied behind Johansson, condemning Disney's hostile tone. Carrie, who narrated Proxima Midnight in Avengers: Infinity War, didn't return for Endgame because of a financial dispute. Marvel offered her a lower deal for her second appearance, which she later declined. This confirmed that Marvel's pay was surprisingly low compared to public expectations, and that even voice actors were vulnerable to Disney's obsession with cost-cutting. The most shocking revelation came from Jeremy Renner, a core Avengers character who had been with the MCU for more than 10 years. After recovering from a near-fatal accident, you would think that Disney would show some respect and gratitude. But here's Renner's own words about the repulsive offer. They asked me to do a season 2 and they offered me half the money. I'm like, wow, it's going to take me twice the amount of work for half the amount of money. The sheer insolence of giving a man who almost died and spent months recovering half the money for twice the labor is astounding. Renner's comment sums up how offensive this was wonderfully. You basically took 8 months of my time, and I'm like, I'm sorry, why? Because you believe that I'm only half as Jeremy because I was run over. Did you think that I'm only half as Jeremy? Corporate greed has driven that man to the brink, and Renner made it abundantly evident who is actually responsible for these demeaning proposals. Listen, this isn't Marvel, mind you, it's more like this Disney, which isn't even Disney, it's just the accountants who are pinching pennies. Renner's final response was perfect. I told them to go fly a kite. Renner, who literally nearly died and returned to continue bringing joy to millions of fans, told Disney's accountants exactly where they could stick their insulting offer. That's the kind of corporate respect Disney had earned after 10 years of Renner's dedication to the character. But here's where it gets really interesting. In 4 words, Renner exposed Disney's entire corporate strategy. It's not about creativity, it's not about respecting talent, it's not even about creating good entertainment, it's about squeezing every penny out of everyone involved. There were reports of considerably wider discontent among the original Avengers cast during the time of these public fights. One post from 2025 implied that Chris Evans, though there isn't any hard proof to support this claim, Chris Hemsworth and Robert Downey Jr. were dissatisfied with Marvel's treatment of employees, including pay disputes. As the MCU expanded, these actors' salaries went from hundreds of thousands to tens of millions. For example, Evans made $300,000 for the first Avenger but earned $15 to $20 million for Endgame. Hemsworth made $15 to $20 million for Endgame after earning just $150,000 for Thor. But here's the real deal, because of a special profit-sharing arrangement, Robert Downey Jr. made $75 million for Endgame. This means that while Disney was complaining about poverty with other actors, they were giving their golden boy enormous checks. The hypocrisy is astounding. Disney would pay Downey Jr. $75 million while offering Jeremy Renner half of his prior salary. They would also settle with Johansson for tens of millions of dollars, but they would undercut Carey on a voice acting gig. The MCU's massive box office success, Endgame grossed $2.8 billion worldwide, now stands in stark contrast to reports of Marvel's frugal approach to actor pay and worker compensation. Disney built a $29 billion franchise on the backs of actors and workers they consistently underpaid and disrespected. They turned beloved characters into corporate cash machines while treating the people who brought them to life like disposable employees. And trust me, what's coming next will show you just how deep Disney's culture of corporate sociopathy really goes. The house that Walt built was about to face a reckoning that would shake it to its very foundation. The magic dies when the cameras stop rolling. Behind those million-dollar smiles and carefully choreographed magic shows lies one of the most ruthless corporate machines in entertainment history. And today, we're exposing exactly how deep this rabbit hole goes. This isn't just another corporate controversy. This is about a company so obsessed with profits that they're willing to destroy the very people who make the magic possible, from Marvel's biggest stars walking away in disgust to theme park workers literally living in their cars. Cast members are crying in the break room because they can't afford food and are eating ramen noodles because they don't know what to do. It's painful, but Disney doesn't want you to know that this isn't a recent development. Disney's greed has reached a breaking point that is about to blow up in their faces, and the employees themselves aren't staying silent anymore. Believe me when I say that this is a decades-long cycle of exploitation finally going full circle. You won't have the same perspective on Disney after this inquiry. Let's begin with the unpleasant reality of Disney's enchanted past. In 1941, as Walt Disney was establishing his empire on illusions and wonder, the corporation began to reveal its true nature when it was hit by a significant strike by animators over inadequate pay and lack of union recognition. Walt Disney himself fought against workers' rights, leading to a brutal 9-week strike that ended only with federal intervention. Many animators left the studio permanently, highlighting Disney's early anti-union stance. But that was just the beginning. In the 1990s, Disney took their exploitation global. A 1996 report by the National Labor Committee revealed that Disney's Mickey Mouse and Pocahontas pajamas were made in a Haitian factory, paying workers as little as 12 cents per hour. 12 cents. That's not even enough to buy a Disney sticker, let alone feed a family. Even after raising wages to 28 cents per hour, workers lived in extreme poverty while Disney raked in billions from their childhood characters. And Disney's response? They basically said, "Not our problem," and blamed their licensees. Classic corporate deflection that we'll see over and over again. But the real scandal was brewing much closer to home: Disney's theme parks. You know, those magical kingdoms where dreams come true? They were becoming nightmare workplaces where employees couldn't afford to live. Get ready for this bombshell. When researchers surveyed 5,000 Disneyland employees, they discovered that 85% of them made less than $15 per hour, with over half making less than $12 per hour. This is absolutely devastating because, in one of the most expensive areas in America, Disney was paying poverty wages to the people who were creating magic for millions of visitors. While Disney was raising ticket prices and posting record profits, the average hourly wage for Disneyland Resort employees dropped 15% in real dollars from 2000 to 2017, from $15.80 to $13.36. 73% were unable to pay for necessities like gas, food, and rent. We are referring to those who work full-time for Disney yet are unable to pay for food or housing. The truth is heartbreaking. Listen to this employee's testimony. "As I go to change my costume, I see my fellow cast members getting out of their cars to take a shower because that's where they live." Let that sink in. Disney employees were living in parking lots while Bob Iger was raking in $65 million annually. Here's another gut punch. "I see my cast members going without food during their breaks because they don't have any, even though I have purchased food for them."